Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You know, it's super easy to spend a lot of money on your truck when you start doing mods, and I started doing it about 2 years ago. So today I thought I'd go over some of the things that I've done on the truck and tell you or not whether they were hits or misses or in between. But anyway, I think it might be information that will help you decide what kind of changes you want to do on your truck and whether or not it's worth the money. Well, first up, let's go ahead and address the front bumper. That is Shrockworks front bumper, and I put it on fairly soon after I started to do the modifications, and I gotta say I'm really happy with it. So I would say the Shrockworks front bumper is a hit. Now, I knew there would be a lot of cutting involved with getting that Shrockworks front bumper installed, so I just went ahead and had it done at Zeus Off-Road down in Burnsville. I needed some pros to do it. They did a great job, and I couldn't be more happy with how it turned out. It's held up well, it looks good, it's not rusting, it holds a winch really well, and it's just a great rugged addition to have put on the truck. Very happy with it. The downside, Shrockworks is out of business, and it's unavailable. So if you can find a used one, I would encourage you to pick it up if you're thinking about going that route on the front end of your truck. Now if you go to the back end of my truck, again, that's a Shrockworks bumper as well. That's the rear bumper, obviously, and it was a super easy install. A couple buddies of mine helped get it on, and it wasn't a problem at all. And again, very sturdy, very solid. It isn't rusting. It's really held up quite well. Again, the downside, Shrockworks is gone. So if you can get your hands on a second-hand one, that's a good way to go. Definitely worth it if you can buy a used one, if you want to put on a off-road bumper and get rid of the stock OEM bumper. Well, since we're still talking about Shrockworks, I have one more item of theirs that I put on the truck, and that's the full set of steel skid plates that I have underneath. Again, very happy with them. They've held up well, as they should. They're steel. I do have one little quibble with them, and that is that part of one plate touches the balance piece on my exhaust, so I get a rattle, and I've been kind of putting in a piece of rubber hose to sort of keep that from rattling, but eventually I got to pull that plate down and grind it. That's my only little problem I've had with them. Otherwise, again, a very good product. The downside, they are not available anymore because, again, Shrockworks is out of business. Also, with the kind of driving that I'm doing, I probably could have gotten away with the aluminum skid plates. It would have been a little bit lighter. But I'm really glad to have the steel ones, and I didn't notice a big, huge difference in gas mileage when I put them on. So, again, the Shrockworks steel skid plates, they're a hit. So another thing I did up front is I added the Harbor Freight Badlands 12,000 pound winch, and I have to say that has been a success and a hit. Now, I really haven't had a chance to use it out on the trail, but for what it cost and for the added security of knowing I have it if I need it, it's worth it. You know, it was probably, I don't know, maybe 600 bucks or something like that. It's expensive, but compared to some other winches that you can get, it's a budget-friendly winch. Again, I haven't had any problems with it, and I'm sure it'll do the job if I need to move a small tree or pull somebody out of some mud, or even, you know, pull a dock in from a lake. You know, who knows, right? But all I know is the security and having it, and at that cost, it's a hit. So another mod that I did to help protect the truck off-road is I added the rock sliders. I got the white knuckle rock sliders, and I love the look of them, but I have to say, I think they're a miss. They're solid and they're heavy and they're durable, but boy, they have really rusted. I've had them on for what, less than 2 years, about 2 years, and they've pitted really bad in a Minnesota winter. I guess it's expected, but you know, I haven't really ground these things down on heavy rocks or anything. It's just been gravel roads, and I'm disappointed to see how much pitting and rusting I'm having on them. So if I was to do another set of rock sliders, I would probably look elsewhere, but you know, I'll have to pull them down and, you know, rhino liner them or something. But it is disappointing to see how much rust is on those white knuckle sliders. Okay, if you've looked at my truck recently, you know that I have a topper on it. But for the first 2 years that I decided to do some off-roading and overlanding stuff, I put on the Billie Bars. Now, I'm going to tell you that I think the Billie Bars are a hit. I liked them, but I think there were some things that missed a little bit too. First, I'll tell you why I think they're a hit. They were easy to put on. I thought they looked good, and they were very durable. They were aluminum and didn't rust. And they're very, very flexible. You could put a rooftop tent on them. I put a Rhino platform on them. I put some Pelican boxes on them. So, you know, there's some versatility to them that's very nice. The downside of the little bit of miss I had was I never got a good seal with the brackets that hold the bars and the use of my excess tonneau cover. I always had a little bit of water leaking when it rained pretty heavy. And it was just a bummer, especially if I had like electronic equipment in the back. I had to be very careful about that. So I'm going to say it was kind of a miss, but not really a miss. Now, Billie Bars gives you a list of products that the brackets will work with, and access tonneau covers is not on them. So I tried to adapt it the best I could, but I never really got a good weather seal. So that's a little disappointing. I think the biggest problem I had though with the Billie Bars was the molly panels. The batch that I got must have been really poorly powder coated, and they got pitted and turned white and chalky looking really fast after about a year. So I actually contacted Billie Bars about it. They told me, yep, they had a bad batch go out. So they addressed the problem, and they sent me a new set of molly panels to put on them that were going to be much better. Now, I never mounted them though, because about the time they arrived was the time that I was going to switch to the Lear topper. Overall, I think the Billie Bars are a hit. They just aren't in my game plan anymore for what I want to do with the truck. But if you're looking for some affordable bed bars for tents and boxes and things like that, I'd recommend them, especially if they happen to use a tonneau cover that is on their recommended list. You can see that list on their website, so go check it out if you're thinking you might want to go that route. It was just over a year ago that I decided to change from my OEM rims to the All Dogs RB6 wheels for the Frontier, and I gotta say I've been really happy with them. I was able to pick these up from a friend of mine, slightly used. He put very little miles on them, and I gotta say they look great, they've held up great, and they've just been a nice addition to the truck. And you know, All Dogs off-road stuff is really good, so anything from them I think you're gonna have some great success with. Go ahead and give those All Dog RB6 alloy wheels a look, because I think they're a hit. Well, since we're on the topic of wheels, I thought I'd also tell you I went with the Falken Wild Peak all-terrain tires, and they have been wonderful. I'm on my second set, and they're not noisy on the highway. I think they give me good traction off-road, good traction in the snow, which is important here in Minnesota, and they've just held up really, really well. So very pleased. And I'm going to keep sticking with the Falkens as long as they're affordable and they don't change the compound or anything and make them a less durable tire. So I guess you can say the Falken Wild Peak tires are a hit. Now when it comes to lighting, I did do a couple upgrades. I added the Baja Designs light bar just above the winch on the front of my truck, and that has been great when I'm off-road in the dark or looking for a campsite, and I haven't had any issues with it. I don't use it a lot, but it's nice to have, so I'm going to say the Baja Designs bar light up front is a hit. Now I've also got the Baja Designs fog lights, which have been a hit as well. I had to add the fog light stock to the truck, but that was pretty simple, just a plug and play thing. So Baja Designs, you've been a hit for the kind of lighting that I want to do with this truck. Now it was just this fall that I added the topper. So is it a hit or a miss? I'm gonna say it's a hit right now, but let's answer that question a little bit later this year when I have a chance to get out and camp with it and do some things with it. Now I made the switch because I wanted something that was going to be more secure for my work gear and just keep things a little bit more dry back there. And it has definitely done the trick. It was a good budget friendly topper. It's the Lear 100R, And again, it was pretty affordable, and it looks good. The paint match with the truck is good. The quality of the build seems good, and I really like it. But is it a hit or a miss? I'm going to say it's a hit right now, and I don't foresee any problems. But let's ask me again when I get a season of camping and running around with it under my belt, and that'll be in the fall this year. Now, another thing that I did right about the time that I added the topper is I added the Generation 2 deck-to-drawer system. Again, is it a hit or a miss? I'm going to say it's a hit right now, but also I haven't had a chance to get out and camp with it. So let's, again, address that in the fall and see if I still think it's a hit. Again, I don't see any problems with it. It should hold all my camera gear. It comes with some great boxes, so that's pretty cool. But I don't see any issues coming down the road with it, and I'm pretty glad I have it. And I think it'll be a hit all year long. So one of the first mods that I think everybody wants to do is a lift or leveling kit on their truck. And I wanted to do that as well as soon as I wanted to start overlanding and doing more off-roading with the truck. So I decided to go with the Ready Lift SST leveling kit. It's a 2-inch lift, and it uses spacers. Now, it's worked great, and I haven't had any problems with it. Structurally, it's been fine. I did have some coil bucket knock if I go off-roading with it, pretty heavy areas. But for the most part, it's been great. But now with the steel bumpers in front and back, and the steel skid plates, and the winch, and the topper, and the deck drawer system in here, I'm carrying a lot of extra weight. So, just a few weeks, I'm going to go ahead and be pulling off the Ready Lift and adding the heavy-duty spring all dogs off-road Bilstein lift kit. I think it's a better way to do it. It's going to give me a better ride. It's going to give me just a more stable platform for this truck with all the weight that it's carrying. So I'm looking forward to that and having that done in the next few weeks. So is the Ready Lift kit a hit? I'm going to say yeah, it's a hit. It's under $400, but it can be a miss if you're thinking that you want to add all these other things to your vehicle. I'd say, spend some time with it in stock. And if you don't feel like you're going to be adding a bunch of extra weight to your truck, it'll probably do just fine. If you're not going to be doing some gnarly off-roading, I think it'll be just fine. I think it'll be a miss, however, if you put it on and you're out there with a ton of weight in heavy-duty off-road situations and you're getting all that knocking and things like that. Then you would probably want to do a spring lift. But I'd say for the most part, the Ready Lift at that price, it's a hit. Unless you want to go heavy-duty off-roading, then it's probably not might be the way to go and you could get a miss. Well, there you have it. That's the mods that I did on my truck, the hits and misses. Now, what was a hit earlier, maybe a miss now, but just because your needs change and the direction you want to go with your truck changes, and it may be a miss not because of the product itself, but just because it doesn't fit your needs anymore, as the types of needs you have for off-roading and camping and things like that evolve as you do this for a time. I would say the biggest miss though for me was the white knuckle sliders. They just pitted out way too early, and they're going to be a lot of manual labor to keep those things looking good. I'll have to pull them down and rhino liner them and paint them every year or whatever. And that's just kind of disappointing to have to do that, especially since I'm not really grinding them down on rocks. If I was beating the bejesus out of them, I would understand it. But I'm just going down dirt roads, and it's really sad to see them pitting like they are. But otherwise, I think everything else has been a hit for the kind of needs that I had at the time. Anyway, I hope this helps you in your decision making on the kind of mods that you want to do on your truck. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and a subscribe helps me out too. And I will see you guys down the road. Take it easy.